Welcome back. If you're still listening to my episodes, thank you again. This is episode 3. We have the amazing David from Circles Tarot. So enjoy and thank you again for listening to the Ritual Radio podcast. Okay, so thank you, David, for joining me today. This will be our 3rd episode of our podcast, so I am super excited. So today we've got David, who is the owner of Circle Tarot. So David, do you want to talk a wee bit of obviously yourself? Tell us who you are, where you're based, and what you offer.
Cool, thank you. So lovely to be here. Thanks for having me. So I'm David. I am Circles Tarot on social. I live down here in Kilmarnock with my wife and my daughter. And in terms of what I do, it kind of developed. Like I started off just reading tarot.
Yep.
And then the more people I read from and the more different venues that I went to, I've always seen like wee lines between people, and I've always seen a wee grey line around everyone. So that was where the aura thing came in.
Right, okay.
So I started to do aura readings as part of the tarot readings, and the aura reading kind of helped me develop. I'm more of a psychic than a medium, so it kind of helped me to develop my psychic ability. So again, I started to see guides and elementals, and I was on West Coast Bright once, and I saw a wee gnome. I was reading for a guy in West Coast Bright, it was vintage. And it was amazing. I see these things in my mind eye, not in my physical eyes, but just reading for a guy in this wee gnome, just kind of cut past them. So I was like, okay, that's what a gnome looks like. And then just lots of stuff like that. You know, I saw a dragon once. I was reading from this lady and her mother, and I saw this dragon coming through the house.
Right. Okay. Well, I need more information on things.
Oh no, that.
Yes, 100% on the aura. You've got me in. I'm already. You've got me hooked. You're reeling me in at that, especially seeing like because I know we obviously we seeing things. I'm like you. It's my mind's eye. But it's more like I don't get like mystical creatures or mythical creatures or anything like that, and that fascinates me. Like that really fascinates me because that's a different. It's something I've not tapped into yet. But yeah, please explain more if you've had any other experiences. That's fantastic because there's a lot of meanings behind that as well that people don't understand. So yeah, any other other creatures so far?
There's been loads of stuff. I've basically seen any elemental you can imagine. When I see fairy energy, I see fairy energy quite a lot, particularly around high vibration people. Right. And for me, they appear as wee pinpricks of light. So again, in my third eye, there's like a wee sparkle round about the person. And when you look at the pinprick, again, if you stare into your third eye, you can see they're huge, like fairy energy is huge. Yeah. And I see angelic energy as well. I see angels behind people. And I differentiate it between, I say elementals come from Gaia, come from the earth. Yeah. So like that's energy which comes up. And angelic energy, for me, I describe it as I'm not in space-time. Because I think that's cosmic energy. Right. So that's kind of like how I tell the difference, and it feels different. Like sometimes the angelic energy is overwhelming, you know, because you can see it's huge, giant. But again, fairy energy is giant as well. They don't look like Tinkerbell. You know, that's one thing I realised that none of that, apart from that we know, that's all who looks exactly what you'd imagine, fishing rod, the whole show. And then none of them really look like you would imagine. As I was saying before, one of the coolest ones is I've reading, I think it was at the Witchy Bazaar. Right. A woman and her mother. And her mother was really old, so I was having to say, it's a fairy, Janice. You know, the place was really busy. She couldn't really hear me very well. It was hilarious, the whole thing was brilliant. And I saw in their house, sometimes once I've connected to the client, so I spend a wee bit of time making sure our energy blends. Yeah. And once I'm connected, I can kind of see through their eyes. So I was walking through their house, and I saw like in the corner of one of the rooms, sometimes it takes some bits of reading for a woman once now. So your garden kind of slopes down, and then there's your hut, and then there's a tree, and she was just like, "What?"
Yes, I love when you get a bit of a mind map in their property. That is something that blows even the skeptics out the water. Like that. How do you know that information? Are you tuned into my CCTV?
I know, totally right. Checking the ring doorbell for some guy.
I know. No, it's fantastic how much information that you can get for people just connecting in with their own energy. And I don't think a lot of people realise how much they can learn that for themselves just to understand. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what a lot of we do along the journey is obviously learning things to help cope in this society.
Absolutely. We all need a bit of spookiness at the moment, that's for sure.
So is there anything, did you kind of fall into like a spiritual movement, or were you like, did you just like, because like when I was younger, I was like, my mum and my sisters always went to like spooky churches and stuff like that. And my sisters, do you remember the Mind, Body and Soul books that you used to get monthly? So my sisters, like, oh, they had everything. So I remember through them as like a youngster. So it's always been in the family, but it wasn't until I was like 30 that it was like a pinnacle. COVID, I would say thankful to COVID that actually made the proper changes and bought my first set of oracle cards and started listening and guiding, like using that guidance, inner guidance that it's always been there.
It's just lying in waiting for us to find it. You know,
I know a lot of people like stumble into it, or like if they've had a significant passing, like I also say with my sister-in-law passing away, that kind of gave me the shove into, right, come on, you need to grab life by the horns now and and start enjoying it and not being in that horrible way with yourself anymore. So I think a lot of people stumble. So how was your way like coming into this?
So like my first book was called Tarot for the Curious, because I've always been curious about the world. I've always been a bit of a weirdo as well, you know, that way. So, but again, that comes with the territory. So my gift came, I think, from grief, from my grandmother passed. I always say, like, my grand's been dead for 20 years, but I talk to him these days. So it kind of came from that. But before that, I had always been interested in the spooky stuff. Like my mum and I would go to spiritual stuff sometimes.
Fantastic,
but I always, when I was a wee boy, I had loads of UFO books and, you know, those like encyclopedia of the whatever kind of books. And there was a story in there about the Green Children of Woolpit. Have you heard about the Green Children of Woolpit?
No.
So there's a few podcasts on it. So essentially, there's, I think it was 15th century or 15th or 16th century in England.
Right.
These two kids appeared and they were green. And they had green skin in a village called Woolpit. And this is documented that they existed. I think there's a grave there as well for one of them, the boy or the girl. So they appeared. They had this like.
Just writing this down, by the way.
Well, it's definitely worth looking up, man. It's a big
100%.
So they said that they had kind of got lost. They described this world that they lived in, which had an inner sun, and it was the whole civilization. And they were walking through a cave, and they kind of got lost. So they saw a light, and they thought they were coming back to where they lived. It's kind of like Agartha. If you ever heard of Agartha, I think it's linked to that. And then all of a sudden they came up into the real world, let's say our world, or the surface world, and they were just like, what is this? So they didn't speak English, but eventually the wee girl learned. Unfortunately, I think the wee boy passed away pretty quickly, but the wee girl learned and she stayed and she got married, she had kids, and her skin kind of slowly changed colour over the years. And she described more and more about where she lived. And it's all documented and you know, I believe it.
Kills 100, but no, sorry, we cannot be the only human existence in this universe. There's no, I've always been from a small age, I've always believed that there's, when you look up, you're like, something out there.
There definitely needs to be. Like, my brother and I go to UFO conventions and stuff like that all the time, so it's, I love all that stuff.
That must be interesting, because there must be some like evidential like stuff at these conventions that you're like, I want to move there.
Absolutely. We're planning a road trip, man. Like he turns 40 the year I turn 49, which is pretty soon. So we're going to go to Roswell. We're going to go to like a big UFO convention over there. We're going to do a wee tour and see all the things.
Oh, you'll need to share it, because I will be patiently waiting for that.
Well, a couple of years yet, but it's going to be amazing. Yeah,
that will be that's one of those. Do you know what it reminds me of? See the comedy Paul.
Totally. That's it.
That would be like you
two Simon Pegg fans, so but
you would welcome in that alien.
100%. Totally, always welcome.
So we'll get into a wee bit more, obviously, about your working aspect of like where have you got like a base? I know that sometimes you're based at Secret Garden.
Yeah. So Secret Garden, basically, they gave them a start. And so I've been reading tarot since I was In fact, I'll show you a couple of books first.
Oh, yes, show us
So,
that. We got sidetracked by
when
the
I was,
aliens.
I know exactly, man. And why the hell not? It's a good sidetrack to have. So when I was maybe like a teenager, I started reading Scott Cunningham books.
Right,
Probably
okay.
everybody's read a Scott Cunningham. So
Yeah, I've heard of
I
Scott Cunningham, yeah.
thought I was a witch, doing candle magic and staring at the moon and really freaking
I'm so
myself out.
scared of doing magic. I'm like, I'll mess it up.
You can't mess it up. It's all about the intention, just like everything. As long as your intention is it. But again, I did spook myself. There was one of these, I think it's one of his books that talks about how to scry, and I still get the mirror that I used to do it. So when I was maybe, again, 16, 17, and there's a spell in one of these books, and it shows you stare into the mirror and you say the spell, and it shows you what you're going to look like when you grow up. So I was doing this spell, I was staring into the mirror, and all of a sudden I grew a beard and my hair. I used to have long hair down to my shoulders. I was a grunger when I was a teenager, and my hair just went back and I grew a beard. And I shit a brick, I swear to God. And I ran downstairs. I knew it was inevitable, that way. But that was my first taste of, oh my God, this stuff's real, man. That way. This actually works. This isn't just fluff.
100%. And I think as well, though, I think a lot of like the Hollywood has like scaremongered people into like things like mirror scrying or using a talking board or the Ouija board or whatever you want to call it. But they are fantastic tools to actually psychically connect with.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, your guides, your loved ones, your ancestors, whoever it may be that wants to give you information that you need. But then also, it's we've got that big fight of like letting people know like it's safe, but obviously you need to be safe when you're using it at the same time, because if you've got, like you said, just with obviously the spells and me saying obviously I'm scared of them, you're like, but it's intention. That's with anything, it is the intention. And as long as you're coming from obviously light, I always like to make sure I've got like hundreds of light around me, unless I'm doing a seance. Then I'm like, right, okay, I'll let yous come
keep
in.
Keep all the lights on just in case I spook myself right out here. Yeah.
As much as I enjoy mediumship, if I was to physically see, I think I would definitely run and hide under the cover.
Yeah, that's it. And like you say, as long as you protect yourself, I think, I do Reiki as well, so I always do my golden bubble and a wee singing bowl that I use to get my vibration up. So I'll make sure I'm protected. And I also I don't know if you do this, but when I'm connecting to spirit, I say from now until a specific time. So I use George's technique. I open the window and I say, spirit, I accept you in from now until 3 p.m. or whenever the event ends. So that there's a time limit on it, but I always try and intentionally close down as well.
No, I do, because it's like I feel as if it's like I intentionally do it now. It's just like it's because it's part of the routine now. It's just automatic, and I feel as if that's what a lot of people need to understand. It's like going to the gym, as hard as it is at the start. Once you've incorporated it into your routine, it's
totally.
Do you know what I mean? It's and I feel as if like when it comes to like us learning, obviously and working with it as well, it just becomes the norm, and I feel as if a lot of people can learn like tips from the likes of us. We're doing these podcasts and that, so that they know that they can start off small and they just add in.
Totally.
Is there anything that you would recommend anybody starting their journey to like incorporate anything into like their day-to-day life?
So I think making sure, so it's interesting. So when people think about doing like psychic work and mediumship work, they think you need to be all zen. But again, as George pointed out, it's no, you're up. And I always say that when I'm up. And I try to get your energy high, because like when I'm connecting with a client, I always say like I want our energy to connect, and I describe it as lighting a candle. So the excess energy, as our auras are bouncing off each other, kind of like a wee candle. So you want to, I think, but again, as within, so without, right? So you want to have, first of all, a moment of calm. So I do a meditation. Like I've got a Shakti mat as well, one of these acupressure mats. So I lie on that, and that kind of like chills me out for 20 minutes. And then I'll bring the energy up. So that's probably the first top tip. Start from a place of calm. Make sure you've got your heart rate down as low as you can manage to get your heart rate calm, and then build yourself up so you've got a nice solid foundation of calm to then increase your energy from.
Yeah. Has there been like any pinnacle like moments in your career so far that you've like, even like when you've been doing a reading and see that way, you're just reading, do you know what I mean? We're just the vessel, we just pass on the information. But like, see when like clients are like, has there been like, has there been anything that you would be like, oh, I remember this one time?
Loads. The one I talk about in readings most often is so when I see, I always tell clients when I see images, it's sometimes real, sometimes a metaphor. And I always use the example of the lady in West Bride, I think is my favourite ever reading, who her gran came through and showed me a bowl of custard. I was like, okay, well, what the hell do we do with this bowl of custard? So that's the example. Like, have you just had a bowl of custard? Is it as simple as that? Or is there something deeper? But that was a beautiful story. So I looked at that, I was reminded of her grandmother, and then I saw a necklace, and she remembered the necklace, and she ran away home. And then she came back in and she showed us the necklace that I had described her. It was just as I had described her. So we were all greeting, and it was a beautiful thing. So just from like asking Spirit, just show me what I need to see today, you know, and that allowed that grandmother energy to come through to get this famous bowl of custard, and then to tell that amazing story, which is some of the best evidence, I believe, that
well, that's the thing, because like you're saying, you're like, it's a bowl of custard, but like that brought back so many memories that she needed that day that like that probably made her week, month, or the rest of the year and picked her up and made her feel, well, she got the healing from the message that she needed that day. And our gran clearly knew what to say. And it's, I think like spirits sometimes I think are absolutely hilarious, because I feel as if like when I've done a couple of readings, it's like they'll come through and they'll talk about, it's like they'll give you those pinnacle bits of information so the loved one knows it's them. But then if you've got a certain character, especially if they enjoy practical jokes, the amount of that laughter that comes through, I end up sitting there just laughing, and they're like, you're laughing like him, like you're laughing like him, or you're laughing like her, you're actually embracing the intrinsic. And it's insane how it happens. And I feel as if we don't realise how good we're doing it until we get that feedback, and it's like, it's so rewarding that we're helping people heal just with words.
Totally. And like I ask at the end of every reading, like, did that help? Because I really want, I describe myself as a mirror. Like, I'm here to show you what your subconscious is showing me, or spirit's showing you, depending. You know, it could be a wee bit of both in there. Because again, I read the energy of the person. I always say, like, I'm more of a psychic than a medium. If spirit chooses to come through, that's a bonus, as I see it. That's not what I'm really there to do. I'm really there to help you. But there's so much evidence as well. And another really cool example is I see past life energy as well. So that developed over the last couple of years. Again, I didn't ask for it. I just saw it one day, and I was just like, "What about that?" And away we went.
I think in this path as well, like we don't know what's actually coming. Do you know what I mean? We only know for the next maybe couple of months. And like you're saying, you didn't realise you were going to even deal with past lives now. And it's like we're ever evolving continuously. And I think that's what people need to know as well, as psychics, mediums, healers. We're continuously learning with every client that we get. We're learning something new. We're adding another wee bit to our dictionary or encyclopedia, whatever it may be. And it makes us better healers as well, because I know that's the main reason why I got into it, was because I started healing myself, and I'm like, right, I need people. I need to help people. I've always wanted to help, but do you know what I mean? And it's so satisfying. Like, it's to, you know, your mate when somebody's leaving, like you can feel that heaviness when they come in, and it's like when they leave, you can feel the light, the
change in the energy.
And like just like how you sat up, they even walk out different to how they came in, and it's amazing. I love it. Is there, I know you've got your website, circletarot.com.
Circletarot.com, yeah.
What do you do, like online readings and in person? Like what let's get your website out there now. So what can we get on your website?
Sure. So www.circlestarot.com. So on there, it kind of shows who I am. I've linked my social feed on there, so I'm Circles Tarot on Facebook and on Instagram.
Yeah.
There's a link to both my books. So I've got a book called Shameless plug. My first book's called Tarot for the Curious, and I've got a book just about to come out. But maybe by the time this releases, it'll be out. Strength and Beauty, a tarot journey. So on there, you can read a wee sample chapter of both. I used AI to create a podcast of it, which is pretty cool. It's a Google LLM, so you can upload a PDF and it turns it into a podcast.
So like fantastic. 2 natural people can listen to it.
So you can have a wee 10-minute walkthrough of what the video is. And I don't really do so many online readings. I prefer the energy in person. But yeah, do that, or you can get in touch with me.
I know, obviously, you're at the fair, so I know that people can obviously, as long as they're on your socials, they'll know that you're popping up here and there about Scotland. So it is. Have you got any like big fairs coming up over like May time? Have you got anything coming up?
Yeah, well, I'm always at Secret Garden. At Secret Garden, come on, it gave me my start. Nikki,
so how many days are you in there?
Just a Monday night, every Monday night from 6 till 9. And again, I still remember texting going, have you ever thought about having a tarot reader? And I went and gave her a wee reading, and then that was me. So I went from there to now. I've got 15 or 16 different venues that I go around. So lots of good stuff coming up in March. April is my birthday month, so I'll kind of take that easy. But loads of things. I'm doing a wedding fair, the wedding on convention. That'll be fun.
I've seen that. I've seen that wee fair. Cut pop up. Yeah. That's a new fair, isn't it?
I think so. I think it ran last year at least, because I know a couple of folk that do it. But that's one of my goals. I've got a wedding booked to start doing tarot weddings. I think that'd be a fun thing for a cocktail hour,
Oh, definitely. I think you'll do very well at the weddings. That'll be that. They'll end up getting you up on the mic and start reading everybody.
That karaoke as well. No tarot karaoke.
Oh, I love a bit of singing on my stream, by the way. That's what I call myself on my lives. I'm like your spiritual radio DJ. I sing to your soul. I was like, well, I talk to your soul at the same time.
Nice. Dual purpose. That's it. I like it.
But it's all about lifting that vibration. Like you said at the beginning, if we keep our vibration up in that level, we can communicate with our guides, our loved ones, and get all that information that we need ourselves. But it also keeps us in we're not in that fight or flight.
Totally, yeah. And
we're not in the fight.
You mentioned about the healing part of it, which obviously I'm there for. But I like the self-discovery from it as well. Like I always say, when I look at somebody's energy, nobody's ever what they look like. And you learn to be less judgmental yourself. It helps you remove your own biases, because somebody will sit down and you think, okay, I know what they're going to be. And as soon as you look at the energy, you're like, I have no clue what you look like. So that's one of the main things I've learned, is nobody actually you can tell what you think what somebody looks like from their physical exterior, but you start to see what surrounds them and what's in their heart and what past lives they've led, and then you're just like, okay, I now know your story even more. It's a beautiful thing. And I think every single reading I go, right, I've never seen that before, but it's you're always learning something. Particularly with spirit animals. I see spirit animals for most people, and I've seen some awesome stuff, like as you would imagine. You see deer and you see crows are very common, but I've seen a polar bear as a spirit animal. It's a beautiful thing. And at the other end of the spectrum, I've seen a slug. I had a slug once. I had 2 pals, and one of the pals got a polar bear, and the other one had a slug. But it's a beautiful creature.
That is what you call polar opposites, literally.
And they complemented each other so well in real life,
But that's that balance. Do you know what I mean? That is that total balance there. And you would never have thought to have described it as the slug in the polar bear.
The slug in the polar, it's like a Julia Donaldson, that Lady Gruffalo, the slug in the polar bear.
Do you know what I was thinking of for a wee second ago? It's like Turbo.
Totally. I've seen a snail as well. They're all in there. Stick insects as well, one thing.
No, I've not. I don't get a lot. I'm more. What was it? I get a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
More than anything. And it's the way that I work now is more like it's as if I view them from up above. See, if you were looking from like a 3D print of their like living space and wherever they are most common. And then I view them from above, and it's like like you're saying with it, like it's like they have this shield of armor up.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it's like we're the ones that go like that with the sheet of armor. Hello. And slowly bring it down for them to go, right, okay, you're okay, you're here to help. You're actually here to, and I'm going to go in and we're going to peel out. Yeah.
And that's why I do the blending at the beginning, because like I used to just do tarot, but before I read for anyone, I'd be like, so this is wands and that's fire and that stands for your passion. And this is cups and that stands for your emotional. And really I was doing that to kind of clear their conscious mind so that we could then connect to each other. So I kind of stopped doing that and just looked the person in the eye. In fact, it was at Cove in Saltcoats, which is always an amazing event.
Yeah.
And I looked at Lady and I just things just went pop. And I was like, okay, right, I'm just going to do this. And she actually came back to see me. I think her name's Lauren. And I remember saying, right, so this is the way I work. And she said, I know, it was me. And she said, aye, it was me. I was like, oh, right, that's what it was.
For you.
Totally, yeah. So, like, you can learn something for everything. You know, like, you can develop your skills just based on having that open. Once your energy's open and your mind's open, then the things that appear are amazing, beautiful.
Yeah. 100%, because I can relate to that, because I feel as if recently I've been pulled more to the mediumistic side of things.
Yeah.
And because that's what a lot of my readings have been, because I like to start with cards. Especially my angel cards, I love them because they're not just the typical tarot cards. They're more, well, they've brought in the angels, so it's all about healing.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's, I'm a bit like you. I want to get to the root so that we can bring it out and plant it and start making it grow. Do you know what I mean? But I've noticed the past few, like the wee while, it's more the mediumship side, but see some of the evidence that I'm getting, I'm like,
I know, yeah.
It's like you just see it and then you're like, what? And you're like, oh, what did I say?
Here's a good evidence story, man. Like, I said past lives. And again, this is in Let's Go Bright, at Most Vintage and Let's Go Bright. And I saw 2 past lives. I see lots of soldiers in past lives, which kind of makes sense. But I saw a lady who I saw 2 lives for her. Well, I saw loads of lives, but I always say to yourself, just show me the one that's making an impact today. And she said, I saw one where she was a soldier, a young guy who got shot, and I saw him getting shot. And then he went, oh my goodness. And then I saw another one where she was a wee boy who bashed his head on the beach and fell and drowned, and I saw him floating. I was like, okay, and she went white, and she was just like, oh my God. And she went, and she pulled her hair back, and she had a wee scar there. And she said, I'll not show you, but I've got another scar here where I saw the bullet in it. And she said, nobody can ever explain where that came from. I know that's the best one. Like, I've never since had one as so clear as that. But when she showed me the wee, like, Harry Potter scar that she had, it was just like, that's it. That's what I saw.
That's the evidence, though, that makes us go, oh.
I know. Yeah.
I'm learning. Like, ow. Like, and it's, because I feel as if we go through different stages, and we might be like, I feel as if, do you feel sometimes that you can get very similar readings? It's as if you get like a collective of people that need that sort of healing at that time. Because I'm like, these readings are very similar, but then it's took me a long time to go, right, okay, there's a reason why there's cycles, and then I'm like, right, okay, well, the moon's projecting this, and obviously we're in like Libra side, and then so I want to understand astrology and stuff like that more, because I feel as if a lot of people don't understand how much like the moon affects us.
We're 70% water, so she's still another thing. I think it's really important. I check the phase of the moon every day, because I think the phase of the moon in particular, because your moon sign for me anyway is probably more important than your sun or your rising, and I'm a Aries and Aries sun and Aries rising and a Capricorn moon, so it explains a lot of my worst enemy. But I don't know a huge amount about astrology, but I do think that I think it's important.
I just know I'm a Taurus, and I'm very suited to. Yeah, I'm a Taurus. I can don't annoy me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very calm until like I'm a boiling kettle. I'll take
man.
you along and
I've got Peppa Pig in my head now. Help, there's a bull in my china shop.
Yeah. And do you know what though? I feel as if even like the more I've learned about obviously like spiritual stuff, it's like that understanding of yourself though. It's like I say to people, I don't want to get you to a stage of like happiness, because we're not always happy. Like we're going to have days that we're absolutely miserable. Like, but it's just knowing that we can get through that, and it's knowing that we can see the light of the end of the tunnel. And I feel as if like a lot that people can learn, even just we get a wee set of oracle cards and like your books, you know what I mean? Like, and just having a wee reading, they'll probably click. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I get that.
And it's trusting yourself as well. I think so absolutely like read as much as you can, go and experience different types of read, because you can get in there, you get tarot and oracle, like do the ribbons, there's people that do sand, there's Perry who does amazing palm readings at the moment, and there's loads of things, but it's trusting yourself. I had a lady once and I always say, I'm reading for you, but a lot of folks say, well, you know, what about my brother or my husband, or you know, that type of way, and I say, okay, but I'll read then through your energy because you're asking. And I had a lady say to me once, what, my daughter's not really sure what she wants to do with her life, or she's kind of at a crossroads just now. And I saw a young girl with a white coat and a stethoscope over her shoulder, and I said, I don't really know, like I work in IT, I'm not a career specialist. Well, she's thinking about applying to medical school. And I was like, shit, if only I had said, here's what I say, and it was spot on. So it's trusting yourself. Like, sometimes I'll say words and I don't know what the words mean, because I just clear my conscious mind and say, show me what I need to say. So I just
say that to people. I'm like, I don't need to understand what I'm saying. I'm like, because it's your information. I'm just the best at communication. So whatever I'm saying should make sense to you the now. I was like, and I like to try and give you a wee bit of guidance to know how you can navigate what's coming up in a sense. But at the same time, I'm not here to tell you you're going to win £1 million.
You're not going to get told that. That's some stranger. I know, that's it. Like, I don't use fortune telling. Like I always say, this isn't a fortune telling. This is divination. Because I know the connotation with fortune teller, you know, and I do have a crystal ball somewhere actually, but you know, that's not what we're here for. So divination is what's happening, like.
Yes, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't know the difference, and this is another reason why I want to do the podcast as well, because I want people to start learning the differences, because you've got your mediums, you've got your psychics as well, as they might, like you said, do you know what I mean? I welcome it in if it comes in, but my focus is that person. But you've got obviously mediums that just want to talk, they want to just validate that your loved one is there. Then you've got obviously your clairvoyants that just, they might want to go into like, well, they call themselves, well, we say clairvoyance. I feel as if like clairvoyance normally is more the psychic side of things.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I would say that.
And then you've got like your palm readers, tea leaf readers. So it's like all different, but it all comes to the same umbrella.
It's all about understanding the energy, man. It's all about understanding yourself. It's all about understanding the options that you've got. Like, that's one of my wee mantras, one of my wee platitudes. Life is about options. Like, know what your options are. Give yourself permission to choose.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I know not everybody else, my personality will not suit them for a reading, whereas you might be. Do you know what I mean? Or like Claire that does the tea leaf readings, she might. Do you know what I mean? It's it's just to get everybody to know that there's a variety out there that suits everybody.
Yeah. So I had a lady yesterday, we were at George's paid yesterday, and she came up to me and says, how many are you allowed? And I was like, what? What do you mean, how many are you allowed? She went, how many different readings are you allowed? Well, there's no bouncer. Like, you can go to as many people as you. In fact, I encourage you to go to as many people as you're comfortable in doing. You know, go and experience it. I always say this is an art form. Like, if I ask a client when they sit down, I'm just like, so have you had a reading before? It's not that I'm trying to see them. It's not that I'm trying to. And I'm just like, okay, because what I don't want to say is, you know, well, that's not the way Justine does it.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever said that to me, admittedly, right? But I just want to say, well, it's an art form. This is what I'm going to take you through. This is what we're going to do together.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that? Enough to go.
Because I'm not the last, the one before Christmas when I was at George's, there was a lady that sat down, and sometimes it only happens like a couple of times a year, but sometimes obviously their friends booked me, so they're like, oh well, I'll just book them, but they're not meant to come to me. They're not meant to, because when they sit down and I'm like, I have not to read you. I'm like, and they're like, but you can't, I'm unreadable. And I'm like, no, I'm not the person that's meant to read you. As it, but see somebody in here, they are. So she ended up, I remember the lady, because Liz got her, and she said, I had a fantastic reading. And I was like, I knew she would with you. As if she wasn't for me. And that's what I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, you can't read me. That means I'm unreadable. No, I'm just not the person that's to help you on your journey at this point.
No, resonating. Yeah, that's it.
And I think that's another reason why I want to get all these voices out there, because I know that there's going to be somebody for someone. And I'm like, right, I need to get my people.
And there's patterns in it as well. Like you were talking earlier on about like patterns, and I always feel like the reason I want to connect to the energy is I can pull 3 cards and tell you a story, and I can have somebody else sit down and pull exactly the same 3 cards and I'll tell them a completely different story. Or I can pull 3 different cards and tell you the same story, because that's what's happening, that's what's going on. And there's always themes at events. There's always kind of themes of I'll get the same card showing up in every single reading, every single time. There's always one that stops me, as I say it. And there's always just like themes in the reading. So just I take that as a really good sign. You know, like I do a wee tarot club at Secret Garden, Thursday of every month, shameless plug. And we know it's working because we feel the energy changing in the room. But then we'll all pull, everybody pulls for their own deck. And I think there was one week, it was the Page of Pentacles every day, which is a good student. It's a good thing to have when you're trying to learn tarot. Every day pulled, and was just like, what the hell is this? How can this be? But it's statistically almost impossible. But it always happens, man. So there's your evidence.
Spirit, guides, loved ones will always get their message.
Yeah, man. Will's the way.
Either via us or a tool that we're using.
Yep.
So, social media, I'll be tagging, obviously, with this podcast. Everything for you will be tagged down below. So your website, Instagram. You're on Facebook as well, aren't you?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram,
just Facebook and Instagram, and then obviously they can book you on the website, see you in person at Secret Garden, or if you're popping up in a local fair, make sure you follow our David. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed this. It's been, I can't wait for the season 2. Where I think we might be over probably an hour for season 2.
I'm sure we could get a good chat for a good while, man.
Yeah, I definitely want you to bring your book next time. I feel as if that might be, because I'll also tag that, obviously, I'll get you to send me the link so that I can put it down below.
Thank you for that.
For the audio bit as well. See your 10-minute freebie. And everybody get a wee feel of what it's going to be like. But no, thank you so much, David. It's been a pleasure.